Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Two Footed Tackle podcast. I'm your host, Ari Stamatakos. We're back again, episode 10. We're really getting into the swing of things now. The second, we're practically halfway through the group stage, nearly halfway through the whole tournament, which is quite surreal. There's 29 days, 22 match days, and we're on match day 9, so we're nearly halfway through, which is absolutely absurd, which if you think about it. But yes, we're here. Nonetheless, I hope everyone's well. I hope the day has treated everyone nicely since we last spoke. Once again, thank you on the support on the most recent episode. Thank you on the support for all 9 episodes really of the 9 episodes of the daily podcast, but 10 episodes of the World Cup series. Or World Cup, yeah, I guess you can call it a series. World Cup list of episodes in general. I thank you all very much for that. It means the world to me. Once again, I hope you had a fantastic day. I hope you enjoyed the last early kickoff. So no more 9 p.m. and 12 a.m. kickoffs on the East Coast of Melbourne, which is a little bit of a shame. We have to wait till 2 a.m. to watch, but it is what it is. I guess hopefully they make us wait and it'll be worth it. But no, we will have to wait, and of course this will be the first time where we'll have two simultaneous kickoffs. All right, with the group stage coming to a close, the final games are of course played at the same time in each group, so that's going to be good to see. So we don't get one game at 9 or 12, we get two games at 2 and then two games at 6. So still 4 games a day, still 4 games which I'll need to be covering for the remaining group stage, which is good. I can't wait for that. But yes, let's. Before we start, once again, just implore you all to do all the plugging of the show for me. Share it around. Tell your friends about it. It means the world again. All the relevant links in the YouTube description. If you want to check out socials, check out audio platforms, check out anything related to it, all the links are in the description on YouTube. And as always, if you're listening on Spotify, assuming you already know the links because you would have found it through YouTube or through Twitter or Instagram or whatever. So you can just go search it for yourself there. So yes, thank you for all the support once again. It means the world. Let's crack on. And let's start with probably the game of the tournament. If we're going to be honest, probably the game of the tournament. And it was of course Cameroon versus Serbia. And with this game, I was very interested to see how this game would pan out, because I of course have I'm relatively bullish on Serbia. I had them, of course, if you remember all the way back at my pre-tournament predictions, I had them finishing in the quarterfinals. I had them finishing second in the group and then beating Portugal in the first game. So, or in the round of 16, I should say. So, this of course is an interesting one to see how it develops in a sense, because I look at Serbia with a keen eye, because I put my neck out on the line for them. I said they'd be my dark horse overachievers type thing. So I do keep a keen eye on them, and I was looking forward to this match heavily because we all know Serbia's exploits, especially in the attacking areas. Lots of Kostic, Tadic, Vlahovic, off the bench, Mitrovic who started, Milinkovic, Savic as well. All the itches were playing. So yeah, you look at the exploits in that regard, but then you also look at Cameroon in the likes of Toko Academy, the likes of Eric Choupo-Moting, Abubakar who came off the bench, and of course Abubakar I think came off the bench, and Brian Mbeumo as well, who always provided a threat. So this was bound to be an interesting game, and Serbia really got on top. Cameroon really got on top nice and early. They actually let's speak about what happened pre-game. Now, if you looked at the Cameroon side, you would see that the glaring omission was, of course, the lack of their star, pretty much their star player, in a sense. They're definitely one of their most high profile names, especially coming into the tournament. Sorry, and that was of course Andre Onana, right? Sorry, as I'm about to have a coughing fit, so I'll be 2 seconds. Okay, I'm back. Apologies. I sincerely apologise. I am, as you could probably tell by the voice and by my look, I'm slightly under the weather, so I just had a little bit of a coughing fit. But let's resume. The glaring omission of Andre Onana, who from the squad. Now, of course, he's probably the most high-profile player, maybe. Of course, he plays at Inter Milan. I'm 90% sure he's their first choice and he's of course just a fantastic keeper all round. However, he was there was some rumours pre-game about some unrest in the dressing room, caused by or at least involved with Andre Onana. Now, it obviously has come to light that he was dropped, and the reason he was dropped and then eventually sent home, or eventually decided to leave, was because he stopped being a sweeper. He didn't want to stop being a sweeper keeper. Um, Obviously, Onana plays for an Inter Milan side, likes to control the ball, likes to play very possession-based football, likes to be expansive, especially in the build-up play. So, of course, he's playing his club football at a side which likes to be very expressive, and play out from the back and get Onana involved in the game. And then before his time at Inter, he was, of course, at Ajax. And if there's a side that likes to play expansive football, it's Ajax, right? So you can't really blame him for having that style of play in a sense, or definitely wanting to kind of do that style of play, especially when he's most comfortable with it. However, Cameroon do play a little bit more of a direct game style. They like to play very direct, especially from the initial stages of build-up play. And Onana was not interested in playing in doing long balls up the pitch. He insisted on playing out from the back, and that is of course something that manager Rigobert's song. I hope I don't butcher that. He of course was like, "Oh, you're not gonna play by my rules? You can fuck off." And I guess that's something that has happened, and they something that that if Cameroon don't get through the group, they may live to regret in a sense, because definitely some of the Serbian goals were savable. My mind goes straight to the I think it was the Sergio Milinkovic-Savic goal. The goal to put Serbia in front. It was. I thought that was relatively savable, but Cameroon sending their best player, arguably, sent home, and that is massive shock. Obviously, there's been multiple times where players have been sent home in the past. My mind goes back to Nicolas Anelka in 2010. He, of course, was sent home for calling the manager, I think, the C word, which I don't really like saying on this podcast. I think it was that anyway. That's obviously the last time it's happened, I think. Did it happen in 2014? Can't remember 2018. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, of course, Anelka is the most recent one. If I can think that other high profile ones, none of them are coming to mind. Any high profile players being sent home? You don't really see players get sent home, especially from a World Cup, because everyone likes to just play by the rules because it's the World Cup. No one really likes to kind of put a foot wrong just in case they do get sent home and miss out probably one of their greatest opportunities of their life. So Anelka comes to mind. There's probably others. There's definitely others that I just can't think of right now. But Anelka's the one that springs out to me straight away. Maybe Roy Keane did. I think Roy Keane did. I can't remember what year. It might have been 98. Where was it in 98? It was obviously Italian 90. You were saying 94. Was it? Yeah. France 98. Was it? Did he get sent home from France 98? I think he might have. There you go. Roy Keane. I think I'm 90% sure he got sent home. I can't remember from what year it was, but you don't really see players get sent home, like I said, because it is their players' one opportunity at the ultimate glory in pretty much world sport. So, of course, Onana has left, and it didn't really seem to disrupt Cameroon the slightest, to be honest, and that's quite surprising, because if you look at how the game panned out, they obviously had a little bit. They looked okay towards the start of the game. They looked fine. They probably, I wouldn't say maybe deserved their lead, but they definitely didn't deserve to be behind. I thought it was a relatively even game. Serbia probably had a little bit more, just that little bit extra, that little bit extra in terms of that final edge, especially going forward. Cameroon obviously were looking to hit at on the counter with pace. Of course, I think they started with. I think Abu Bakar was the one that came off the bench. They started triple motting Mbeumo and Taiko Akambi, yeah. So obviously they were the three that were looking to get in behind, looking to really stretch that Serbian back line and really use their pace. They had an okay start, Cameroon. They took the lead. They took the lead, which was, I wouldn't say surprising, but it was like a little bit of a shock, because they didn't really necessarily deserved the lead in a sense. Of course, it was a corner flick to the back post, and it was a pretty easy tap in for. I can't remember who scored it. Probably should know that, to be honest. But it was pretty easy tapping for the player at the back post, and Cameroon took the lead. And then after they took the lead, they were looking to press, they were looking to score a second. Serbia really couldn't get back into the game. However, just before half time, they capitulated. 45th minute, I think it was maybe 45 plus 1. It was a fantastic header to give Serbia the lead. And then 2 minutes later or 3 minutes later, Serge Milinkovic-Savic scores and gives Serbia the lead. So within a try, so within a matter of moments, Serbia came from nowhere in a sense and took the lead heading into halftime. The confidence would have been, their confidence would have been skies like through the roof going into halftime, and the Cameroon confidence would have been through the floor. It's quite funny how football works. You can have a really good first half, but if you have 5 minutes of madness, it can completely turn the game on its head. So you look at that, you look at how both teams were looking to approach the game in the second half. Cameroon obviously had to get back into the game. Serbia were looking to maybe preserve the 2-1 lead and maybe get one more and hold on. And they did get that one more through Alexander Mitrovic, who prior to his goal was very wasteful, if we're going to be honest. He had snatched out a couple of chances, had that chance that fell to him on his right foot in the first half, dragged it wide. Obviously had a fantastic chance very early on where he took it on the right hand side, right hand channel, cut inside on his left foot, had a shot. I think it might have been tipped onto the post. So he was definitely threatening, just couldn't quite find the final like shot in a sense and score. Of course, had that chance before his goal in the second half where he kind of took the ball on a cutback, hit it first time, like kind of curling into the far post and just missed. So he was obviously a presence. Obviously, getting into the box just was very wasteful. Something you don't necessarily attribute to Mitrovic, who's notoriously a very good goal scorer. But it was one of those things where we're just saying if he's going to get his goal and whether or not he can pretty much secure the win for Serbia. And he did get his goal. Was it just coolly take a finish, rolled it into an empty net after a cutback, didn't snatch at it, just took it really well. And we all thought that Serbia were gonna run away with it or at least hold on. But similarly to Cameroon, in a matter of moments, the game turned, and it was a absolutely disgraceful finish from Abubakar. And by disgraceful, I mean apologies. By disgraceful, I mean just outrageous, just not fair. Like, you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. He takes the ball over the top, gets past one, and just with the most obvious chip, he like scoops the ball over the keeper. It wasn't like a dink where he like gets underneath it and hits it with a bit of backspin. He literally just scooped it over the goalkeeper. Outrageous finish to make a 3-2, and then that was of course ruled offside and then overturned by VAR, which was interesting. And then of course Serbia didn't get the memo, didn't get the hit, and continued with their ridiculously stupid high line, which got exposed once again. In behind, I think it might have been Abubakar again this time, who got in behind. If I'm not mistaken. He made the run down the right hand side and cut the ball across for Choupo-Moting, who scored deftly and made it 3-3 within a matter of moments, which was completely turned the game on its head. And then from that moment onward, it looked like Cameroon were going to be the side. If any side was going to win it, it was going to be Cameroon, and it was interesting. It was an interesting last, I want to say, half an hour. So 66 minute was the equaliser. So 24 and a bit minutes. It was very interesting to see how the game was panning out. If any side probably deserved all 3 points, I would say it might have been Cameroon, although once again it was very, very back and forth. Serbia did get back a stranglehold over the game after that couple of minutes of madness, so they were able to withhold the Cameroonian danger, which they needed to, because it could have gone very, very poorly if they didn't. So it was a frantic last 24 minutes. 24 and a bit minutes. How many minutes stoppage time there was? There was 6. So practically half an hour left. Just thrilling, back and forth, end to end action. It was very, very, very interesting to watch. Very interesting to watch. Something that this World Cup has given us time and time again. Interesting results, interesting games. Definitely to date, that was game of the tournament. However, that might have been eclipsed by the next game, which we'll talk about in a sec. But that, of course, was a much needed point for both Cameroon and Serbia, who lost their first two games. So both of them sit at the bottom of their group. Sorry, once again, I just need a pause. I sincerely apologise once again, but I don't know why this is happening all of a sudden. I've been fine. I've been relatively fine for the first 9 episodes of this, but come episode 10, the throat's really sore, but I can still speak. Like that's not a problem. It's just the cough now, which is literally not allowing me to speak. But hopefully we can get through this without having to cough and pause and probably hurt a lot of eardrums along the way. But fingers crossed we can get through it. Okay, what was I saying? Serbia, Cameroon. Both sides needed the point. Both sides were sitting on 0 points, and both sides are third and fourth respectively. Of course, Cameroon only lost their first game 1-0, so they of course will be in third place, but still everything to play for. Only one side can get through. Of course, Brazil's win ensures their automatic qualification. So Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon, Brazil will be the final games, which we'll touch on a little bit later on. So let's move on to what was now the game of the tournament, and that was South Korea versus Ghana. Now, this game was definitely something. And when we look at the game initially, if we look at the game and how it started, there was really one team that looked to get that that looked to really establish themselves in the game, and that was South Korea. Ghana were terrible for the first 45 minutes, or 25 minutes, I should say. It was just an avalanche from South Korea, just attack after attack after attack, just chance after chance after chance, and I didn't really see Ghana in any way getting back into the game. However, they got their goal through a very good cross into the box, scramble, and then it was Salisu who tapped it home. And after that, it was an avalanche. After that, and they got their second through Mohamed Kudus, who, can we speak about the ball from Jordan Ayew? That is absolutely ridiculous. Like, that cross is absurd. Like, that's ridiculous. And we're going to speak about unbelievable crosses, because there was another one that happened a little bit later. But there was just, that cross was unreal. Like, the fact that he could get that in between the defence, in behind the defence, and all Kudus needed to do was just guide it home. Didn't really need to add any power onto it. Didn't really need to add any direction to it. Just needed to guide it home. And it was, both crosses for the goals were outstanding, let's be honest, but that second one was the cream of the crop. That was outstanding. And obviously halftime came. Ghana were by far the better team in that final, maybe 20 minutes or so. South Korea did look to have a couple of chances later on, but Ghana held on. Ghana held on for the first half, and it was of course a very, very tense, very, very very tense, very interesting second half to come, because of course South Korea definitely needed to change something, and in order to change something they needed to make some subs. They made 2 changes before the hour mark, and then 2 minutes before the hour mark, and 1 minute after. All hell broke loose, really. Korea Republic got their first goal through once again, an absolutely outstanding cross. Like, that cross for the first goal was marvellous, really, really good. And then you take a look at that, what that gave to the confidence of those Korean players. The second goal came, a thumping header at the back post, and within a trice, Korea are back in the game. 2-2, Ghana's lead eradicated, Ghana's confidence in the mud, and all the momentum in the game kind of literally did a 180, and all of a sudden if any side were going to win it and run away with it, in fact it would have been South Korea. So it's insane how 2 minutes of madness, 2 minutes of just insane football, and 2 minutes of quality, really, and 2 minutes of quality can completely change a game, and completely turn a game on its head, because it's football, and it's one of the one of the marvellous things about this game is that it can literally change within a moment. It can literally change within 2 minutes. Not a lot of games in the world, not a lot of sports in the world can change just like that, and football can. So all of a sudden, it went from a very rudimentary 3 points for Ghana to a insane end-to-end, high-tempo, aggressive, high-octane game, which could have fell either way. And it was Ghana who struck again, and through Mohamed Kudus, who got his brace. If I'm not mistaken, he did get his brace, and it was a marvelous assist from Inaki Williams as well, just letting the ball roll across and just helping it along. Definitely didn't air swing at it, but no, it fell to Kudus who just coolly, calmly taken the finish. Just marvelous, just very, very good, very, very solid. And well, you can't really say a whole lot more. You can't really say a whole lot more about that. Maybe first hour and a half, because first hour and a half would be the whole game really. First hour and a bit, hour and 10, maybe hour and 5 minutes when all 5 goals came. But we all knew it was going to come to a dramatic finish, and when we saw 10 minutes stoppage time, we all thought something's going to happen here. This game isn't just going to end very, very blandly, very boringly. Something was going to happen, and it was a couple of chances for South Korea, especially late on. It was a couple of very tense moments if you're a Ghanaian football fan, but with 10 minutes and I think maybe 10 minutes and 5 seconds to go, I think it might have been one of the centre backs, Kim Min Jae, I think it might have been, had a shot deflected out for a corner. One last chance for South Korea to get a point out of this game, but no. And the referee Anthony Taylor said, "No, we're not having any fun. No more fun. My ball, my rules. No more fun." And called full time after South Korea probably could have had one more chance at getting an equaliser. There was a massive barney after the game. Really, the first real kickoff that this tournament has had. There was a red card, I think, to one of the assistant coaches for Ghana. No, for South Korea. Sorry, no, it was the actual South Korean coach got a red card after the game for arguing. So, Anthony Taylor, thank you for robbing all football fans of what could have been one of the best moments of the tournament. We applaud you. Thank you all very much. That was just quite funny. The 10 minutes of stoppage time felt like 10 years. Can I just say, that was absurd. That the amount of time that happened. Like, it felt like it was 10 minutes. Like, in terms of 10 minutes. That's what it felt like. It felt like every minute was like the stoppage time minute. If that makes sense. Like every single minute went by felt like it was the entire stoppage time. It felt like it was 10 minute periods, not just 10 1 minute periods. But there you go. South Korea fell against Ghana in their second group game. They, of course, will go into their game against Portugal, needing nothing less than a win to give them any hopes of getting through. So so with that saying, it's going to be a very, very interesting final day, because Uruguay, Ghana, and South Korea all within a chance to finish second. Portugal pretty much all but confirmed their top place position. So there you go. Anthony Taylor making it all about himself. What a surprise, hey? What a surprise. So let's go to the second last game. That's a pretty good segue, is it? It's Brazil-Switzerland. Now, this game was very interesting because, of course, no Neymar. And we're going to be looking interesting to see how Brazil would line up without Neymar. Of course, Neymar has been their main man for so long. He plays in pretty much every position across that front line, most notably through the middle. And it was going to be interesting to see how they were going to change things up. They went with the same back four, I'm pretty sure, as what they did in the first game. And they went with Lucas Paqueta moving slightly further up alongside Fred, Casemiro sitting, Rafinha, Richarlison, and Vinicius. Now, this was the expected lineup. The expected lineup without Neymar. Of course, Neymar's out for the rest of the group stage, which now really shouldn't be a problem. They should be through. As long as they don't capitulate in the final game, they should be through. No problems and no dramas. But it's going to be interesting to see how they can kind of how they were going to, I should say, recover from the loss of Neymar. Now, Brazil, I think it was clear to see that Brazil looked like a completely different team, without Neymar, and I think we can bring that up. Sorry, with the that's the wrong scene, but Brazil looked a completely different team without Neymar, completely different team. I wouldn't say they're inherently worse. I wouldn't say they're as good as what they are with Neymar. Neymar obviously provides so much individual talent, and he's such a forward fulcrum for that team that everything goes around him. But if we bring up their pass map, especially from the first half, what we can see here is that there is literally nothing. Like there's no synergy, no cohesion. It's just pass, pass, pass. Nothing really going forward. Paqueta dropping deep, Richarlison being their main outlet up front, Rafinha playing out wide, who can't really do a whole lot in terms of influence the game from that position without any players around him. So without Neymar, without that player sitting in that number 10 role, sitting in that zone 14 and dictating tempo, dictating the play from a final third perspective, Brazil looked really lost and looked really disjointed and looked unsynergized without him. So he should be back for the knockout stages. That Brazil really need him to be back before the knockout stages, or at least for them in the slightest, right? So Brazil looked so different and so disjointed, and it was pretty concerning because we came to realise, so they're heavily relying on Neymar to get the job done. Granted, they still outplayed Switzerland, but it wasn't as dominant as what it was in their last game, and it wasn't as passing around teams as fluidly as what we potentially have seen from them in the past. So it was interesting to see how Brazil would line up without Neymar, and we saw that, and it was very, very different and a little bit concerning, to be honest. So that's something which I noted pretty early on from the game, and I think that this pass map, if we can bring it up one more time, that's the wrong one again. If we can bring up this pass map one more time, we can just, I think it's pretty clear to see just how different and just how kind of incoherent in a way that this team is. Like I said, Richarlison getting pretty much next to no service up front. Rafinha getting next to no service out wide because there's no one around him to kind of link up with. Paqueta being their real attacking force, but he obviously isn't good enough to kind of really dictate the tempo just yet. I think he's got potential. I don't think he is just yet. So it was very interesting. A very interesting game. Switzerland, we'll look at it from their perspective. They defended well, very disciplined, and notoriously so, very disciplined, very well structured defensively. And Brazil really couldn't find anything, especially in the first half. And if we bring up these, if we saw with those pass maps, they really couldn't do anything, and especially in that first half. They were just struggling to find gaps and avenues through that defense, struggling to find ways to break through that team. And I guess this is a little bit how do you say this? A little bit apt of, maybe not apt, but a little bit of a clear demonstration in a way of what Brazil are. They're a team that when things go right, like they did against Serbia, especially in that second half, they were fluid. They were just scintillating to watch. Now, when things don't go right, it's quite concerning. It's, like, to put it bluntly, it's concerning because they have so much talent. They have so much ability to play through the lines and really dominate games, and yet they just can't. So, it's one of those things. Hey, it's one of those things which you can't really take a whole lot of notice of because Neymar's going to be back. So you can just look at it and think, oh yeah, they're shit without Neymar, but he'll be back, so don't worry about it. But I think you've got to look at it because say Neymar picks up another injury, of course, knock on wood, it doesn't happen. Say he gets suspended. It's going to be interesting to see how they were able to recover from his absence, and they didn't really recover from his absence in this game in the slightest. So that was just a very interesting talking point which I noticed throughout that game. They eventually found the breakthrough in the second half once they kind of grinded Switzerland down, and once they kind of finally found that breakthrough, especially in that back end of the second half, they really got a foothold and a stranglehold into the game, and it took to the 83rd minute for Casemiro to find that breakthrough for them. So yeah, it was a pretty interesting game. It was a pretty interesting game when you look at it. Switzerland, of course, were coming off a pretty good win against Cameroon, and they of course still sit in second place. They're in the box seat. The game's in their own hands in a way, in terms of all they need is a point against Serbia, and hope Cameroon don't beat Brazil by 3 goals or by 2 goals, and then they're through. So their destiny's in their own hands. This probably would have liked to get a point, but it is what it is for Switzerland. They still did well. They still did good enough to put to show everyone that we're not bad. Like we're good. We're a solid team. We're a solid team that can get shit done. So that of course was the second last game. We'll take a look at the last game. Of course, Uruguay Portugal before we move on to the title. Before we move on to what the title says, Portugal versus Uruguay. So both sides don't really play entertaining football. Portugal do a little bit more than Uruguay. Uruguay a lot more defensively minded, defensively solid, and like to kind of bip it and bop it around a little bit more than what Portugal like to bip it and bop it around, pass and move and tiki taka, etc., more than Uruguay. I don't really have a whole lot of notes on this game. It was pretty dull. Got a couple of things. A guy running onto the pitch, which is something I'll have to speak about. Of course, he ran onto the pitch in support of, if I'm not mistaken, it was Save Ukraine. She was holding an LGBTQI plus flag, and Save Iranian Women, or something along. I think it was those three. Causes he was advocating and promoting. So of course, pretty risky to do it in Qatar. Did you think pretty risky to do it in Qatar? But there you go. It is one of those things, hey, which you have to talk about. And I think fair play to the guy. He risked a lot. Because I wouldn't do it in Qatar. I wouldn't do it in Australia, let alone Qatar. So, I mean, fair play to the guy, I guess. Something funny that happened from the game, which has been picked up by everyone, is that Ronaldo claiming a goal, which I reckon was it's not even going to fit in frame. I reckon it was about this far away from his head. I don't think he got anything on that touch. I don't know who the goal was actually claimed to in the end. It was Bruno Fernandes was given the goal. So correctly so as well. It was about 4 meters away from Ronaldo's head. We'll take a look at the group. I mean, the pen, I should say. I don't know. It's a bit dodgy for me. I don't know. I feel like it's a bit weird. Like, he goes to ground. Yeah, you don't want players going to ground. You need to punish players for like going to ground, I guess anyway. However, the ball's like played through his legs. Doesn't really know anything about it. To me, that's a natural position for an arm to be. Because you don't go two-footed without protecting yourself on the way down. And there's obviously, like, two-footed, I mean, like, going... Sorry. Because you didn't go two-footed. Like, when you go to ground, you put your arm down to protect yourself. Like, you put your arm down on the floor to protect yourself, to break your fall, so you don't hit shoulder and rib first onto the floor, right? So, it, of course, was a thing of... Do you give it? Of course, it wasn't given. It went back to VAR. VAR gave it. Fernandes scored the pen. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, if it's for my team, I'm a bit angry. If it's awarded against my team, I'm angry. If it's awarded for my team, I'm happy. So I guess it goes down to an adjudication thing at the end of the day. But yeah, Portugal did get the win 2-0 over Uruguay. And I think it's time now that we go through each of the groups before the final match day, before we move on to who was the most impressive side of match day 2. And by match day 2, I mean match week 2. There you go. So let's go through each of the groups. Look at Group A. Let's look at Group A. And of course, Group A is a group that is still very much in the balance. Netherlands, Ecuador, Senegal, Qatar. I think it is Senegal versus Ecuador, Netherlands versus Qatar. I think Senegal and Netherlands get through. I think Senegal and Netherlands get through that group. Senegal is in third place on 3 points, and then both sides, first and second, Netherlands, Ecuador on 4 points with a +2 goal difference. Senegal on 3 points with a 0 goal difference. Qatar are gone. See you later. Group B, England, Iran, USA, Wales. Of course, it's England versus Wales, Iran versus USA. I think it should be England, USA get through. Of course, USA on 2 points on 0 goal difference. Iran on 3 points with a -2 goal difference, and England on 4 points with a +4 goal difference. Wales still could technically go through. They're on 1 point with a -2 goal difference. I'd be shocked if it's not anything other than England, USA. Group C, Poland, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico. Very entertaining group. Still well and truly in the balance. Of course, it will be Argentina versus Poland in the final game, and Saudi Arabia versus Mexico. I think it'll be Argentina, Saudi Arabia. I think Saudi Arabia will get through. I think Argentina beat Poland. I think Saudi Arabia beat Mexico. There you go. Group D. I don't really want to predict this group. Not gonna. I think I should. I'll do it. I'll do it for closure's sake. France, Australia, Denmark, Tunisia. France top with 6 points plus 4 goal difference. Australia second with 3 points with a -2 goal difference. Denmark -1 goal difference on 1 point in third, and then Tunisia on a -1 goal difference with 1 point in fourth place. Obviously, Australia, Denmark, France, Tunisia. I have been accused of blind optimism in the past, and I've been accused of bias in the past. However, I think we can get a result against Denmark. I really do. I really do. I think it's going to be France, Australia. It's going to be France, Australia. Group E, Spain, Japan, Costa Rica, Germany. Of course, there's going to be Japan versus Spain, Costa Rica, Germany. Costa Rica can well and truly get through the group, which is just insanity to me, considering how poor they've played. But it's, of course, will be Spain, Japan, Costa Rica, Germany. I think Japan will hold. I think it's going to be Spain, Germany, unfortunately, because I think Japan will hold Spain to a draw, and Germany will beat Costa Rica, and Germany will beat Costa Rica and by enough goals to get through on goal difference. That's shattering to me because I think Japan so deserve to go through. Shattering, absolutely shattering, but it is what it is. At Group F, obviously it's going to be Croatia, Belgium, Morocco, Canada. I think it's going to be Croatia, Morocco. I don't rate Belgium at all. They've been poor, very poor. So I think Croatia are going to beat Belgium. I think Morocco are going to beat Canada. They're the two results. Group G, Brazil, Switzerland, Cameroon, and Serbia, groups we just spoke about. Brazil should beat Cameroon quite comfortably, in my opinion. And I reckon Serbia beat Switzerland and go through. So there you go. Group H, Uruguay, Ghana, South Korea, Portugal. Or Portugal, Ghana, South Korea, Uruguay, but they're the matches I just mentioned. It's ironic that Ghana, Uruguay will be the game that decides the group. I think Portugal should beat Ghana, should beat South Korea. I really like South Korea. Actually, apologies for muting if you noticed. I reckon it will be Portugal, Ghana. I think Ghana beat Uruguay. They get the revenge. Ghana get the revenge against Uruguay. I think Portugal will just be too strong for South Korea, unfortunately. But let's go. Let's move on to who was the most impressive team, because that's of course what we did for round one, and so we're going to do for round two. So we're going to go through each game, rank each team out of 10 in terms of performance, and then give our assessment. Okay, Wales, Iran. I think Iran were very good. I think Wales weren't that good. I'm going to go with Iran. 7, Wales 5.5. Qatar, Senegal 7.5. Qatar 5.5. Qatar 5.5 because they scored. Netherlands, Ecuador. I think Netherlands weren't that good. I'm going to go Netherlands 6. No, I'm going to go Netherlands 5. Ecuador 6. Ecuador 7. Sorry, I thought Ecuador were very good. England, USA. Jesus fucking Christ. Both of them are 5. Actually, England 5, USA 7. No, USA 6. I'm not going to give them that much credit. Tunisia, Australia. Australia are 10. No, I'm joking. Tunisia 6. I thought their first half was poor, second half was much better. But then again, you flip it and reverse it, right, for Australia. But Australia got the 3 points, so I'll go 7.5. I'll go 7.5. 7.5 for Australia. Poland, Saudi Arabia. I thought Saudi Arabia were really good, but Poland came back and won. I'm going to go with a 6 for Saudi Arabia and a 7 for Poland. 7.5 for Poland. France, Denmark. 7.5. France, Denmark. We got 8 for France. I think they deserve an 8. And I'll go 6 for Denmark. Argentina, Mexico. 8 for Argentina. 5 for Mexico. Japan, Costa Rica. Japan 7, Costa Rica 6, even though they won. How insane's that? Belgium, Morocco. Morocco 10, unbelievable. Belgium 3, terrible. Canada, Croatia. Canada, give them some credit. I'll go 6, 5.5. Croatia were very good. I'll go with 9. Spain, Germany. I'll go Spain 7, Germany. I'll go both of them 7. Both of them 7. Cameroon, Serbia. Cameroon 7, Serbia 6.5. Because they shouldn't have thrown away that lead. Ghana, South Korea. I thought South Korea were much better than Ghana throughout the 90 minutes. I'm going to go South Korea 7, Ghana 6. No, 6.5 Ghana. Brazil, Switzerland. Jeez. Brazil 6.5, Switzerland 6.5, I reckon. Even in Switzerland 7. And then Portugal, Uruguay. Fucking both of them are 6. No, Portugal 1-2-0. Portugal 7, Uruguay 6. And by that, what that means is let's look at who was the most impressive side, and I think by a landslide it's Morocco in my opinion. Landslide, Morocco were the most impressive side in terms of just quality, scenes, class, come from behind victories, everything like that. Morocco were by far the most impressive side in match week 2, and it's not even a competition in my opinion. So yeah. They're my assessment. So let's move on to the preview. Qatar, Netherlands, Senegal, Ecuador, Wales, England, Iran, USA. Now, if I can remember what I said for my group preview, for my group roundups and my predictions for the group, hopefully these results should make sense. But I'm going to Netherlands, Qatar. I'm going to go. There hasn't been a big result. Netherlands won't smash them. Netherlands won't smash them. I'll go 2-0 Netherlands. Just comfortable. Qatar, Senegal, 1-0 Qatar. No, Senegal, Ecuador. Fuck me. Senegal 1-0. England versus Wales. I reckon they get a thump them. 6-0 England. Iran, USA. 2-0 USA. So yeah, there you go. They're my preview. Once again, no reasoning, as always. But yes, thank you all very much for watching another video, another podcast. Thank you all for sticking around. Yes, tune in tomorrow again for the first group stage, first final group, like first episode where there'll be a concluded group stage. 2 concluded group stage, in fact. Apologies for the coughing and for the pauses. I just can't control it. I'm sorry. But hopefully it'll be better by tomorrow. Yes, thank you all very much for watching once again. See you tomorrow. Leave your thoughts and predictions in the comments below. I want to hear who you think will get out of the group. Leave your thoughts as well for anything I've spoken about. Yes. Thank you all very much for watching. See you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.